Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Charlie Radke versus Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond is 35 years old, 3-2 as a pro, and he's an inch taller than 33-year-old Radke, who is 7-3 as a pro. Blood Diamond, his name is Mike Mathetha, or Mathetha, so if you happen to see that name, that's who I'm talking about. Charlie Radke, he's got 5 finishes in his 7 wins, 3 by TKO or knockout, and 2 by submission. And he's got 2 decisions as well. And his 3 losses come 1 by knockout, 2 by decision. And he's only lost to good fighters. Christopher Gonzalez beat him in Bellator in a fight in which he was generally outgunned and out-wrestled, slammed, taken down, gave up his back. But in the end, I thought he had a strong round 3, Charlie Radke. Defended takedowns well. But then in the end was taken down and had a beautiful triangle at the very end of the fight and went to the full mount. He was definitely the last man standing in that fight. He also lost to Austin Hubbard by decision. Hubbard, who is back in the UFC, I think, for the second time, just lost on the Ultimate Finale, or at UFC 292 in the Ultimate Finale or whatever the fuck. But that was a very close fight. Austin Hubbard's a very good fighter, and in particular, a very good point fighter. And he won on points here, and you know what? I thought he did too, but it was still very close, and Charlie Radke fared well in that fight. I think there's no shame at all losing that fight, or fighting that fight. And his one TKO loss, or KO really, comes to Justin Montalvo, who's a guy who fights over here at Longo Serra, and Radke was doing well early on, taking him down, taking his back, rear naked choke, guillotine, darce, working a bunch of different subs. That's the Serra half of his training. And he wasn't able to put him away. In round 2, he had a lot of success as well on the ground. But then once they were stood up, once Montalvo got up, he was overwhelmed on the feet. Justin Montalvo stalked him and hit him with a beautiful combination, and really the body shot in the middle knocked him out at the very end of round 2. And that guy Montalvo, I think he's got very good body shots. So there's that. But his victories, you know, they're all over the place. Good amount on the ground, good amount on the feet. Knocked out Brandon Lopez, I think his name is, with a beautiful left hook. Just a fucking incredible KO. Also had a left hook as an amateur. It was a beautiful KO. He knocked out this one guy, Caleb Crump, the short left hand, really like a jab, knocked him out. A beautiful punch. He's got good power, Charlie Radke, even if he's the smaller guy and up against the better striker here on paper. But definitely got power capable of surprising some folks. He's good on the ground as well, although he did lose. I thought he lost his one fight to this guy Jonathan Piersma. Beat him by split, or he beat the guy Piersma by split decision, but he lost that fight, and it was due to jiu-jitsu. Round 1 and round 3, the guy had his back, and even though he's not the best athlete, that guy is pure jiu-jitsu and sucked him into a jiu-jitsu match. I thought he lost that fight, but it ended up going his way, whatever. On the ground, he got this guy out, Raheem Forrest. It was a good fighter. He got him out of there for the CCFC championship. Rear naked choke in round 1. And that was a fight in which you could say he was rocked. I don't know if he was rocked, really. But either way, he got it done. And I have to mention there's this one fight that they tried to bury of him as an amateur. He fought this guy, Sean Sullivan, as an amateur. And it's on Fight Pass, but it's listed as Brian Radke. And it's not Brian Radke, it's Charlie Radke. And the reason they tried to suppress this fight is because he dominated Sean, got him out of there from the back mount, pounded him out. But after the ref stopped it, he kept punching. Hit him with like an extra few punches. And it wasn't something where, oh, he didn't know, whatever. No, he knew, and he kept striking. And the ref tackled him and said, if you ever want to be a fucking pro, blah, blah, blah. You could hear, you know, some shit like that in the chaos. And you could also hear people calling him Charlie. So just wanted to point out that there was an effort made to suppress that fight because it doesn't make him look good. And you know what? I think they did a good enough job suppressing it, but it's still there, and it's definitely him. You could tell from the tattoo patterns and whatever. His left shoulder tattoo evolved over time or whatever, but it's him. So, whatever. That's a strike against his character. But here he seems like the more well-rounded fighter, and definitely, forget about well-roundedness, he's better on the ground than Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond, he's 3-2 as a pro. His 2 losses come in the UFC. Well, first let me say he's a kickboxer, and he trains out of City Kickboxing. But he's a pure kickboxer, Blood Diamond. I'm sure he's been trying to tighten things up, but at 35 years old, I think this is just who he is as an MMA fighter. Lost to Jeremiah Wells and Orion Cochet in the UFC. Jeremiah Wells took him down and strangled him. Jeremiah Wells is a very good fighter. Orion Cochet, he beat him by decision, Orion Cochet, and it was a fight that Blood Diamond definitely could have won. And I thought he was going to win in round 2 when he started to take over. He was taken down in round 1, and it looked like it was just going to be one of those fights. But in round 2, he started to take over, defend better, and started to rough up Orion Cochet. But he couldn't put him away, and then in round 3 again, it was the same old. He was taken down, and this time conceded a lot more advantageous positions, where Orion got his back, got him in the mount, and just totally dominated him for the rest of the fight. Blood Diamond's weak on the ground. I see what everybody else sees. He's strong on the feet, even though he's got a submission victory in one of his 3 wins. This guy, Hyun Min, tried to toss him and kind of wrapped Blood Diamond's hand around his neck and just made him choke him. But Blood Diamond still, it's not like he just fell into that. He did lock up a body triangle and did that move even that Chael Sonnen tried to do to Fedor, where you have the guy on the ground, you don't have your hooks in, but you try to flip over, do a forward flip, and then lock up your hooks as he flips forward into you with all the momentum. And he did that. So he's not, it's not like he hasn't been training and working his shit this whole time, but still, he's 35 years old, and for what he's shown inside the UFC octagon, he's never going to be a force on the ground, ever, in the UFC octagon. On the regional scene, yeah, he could probably get some rear naked chokes, but yeah, he definitely was, he's up against it at the UFC level. Against a guy, Dimps Gillies, that's his 1 decision victory. He won a decision, but still, he showed vulnerabilities even on the feet. He showed he could be crowded, and he was crowded there. I thought he was spamming a lot of spinning back fists, inside close, and just throwing a lot of wild shit. Blood Diamond is not Israel Adesanya. He's just not. But still, I'd have to say he probably has an advantage on the feet in this fight against Charlie Radke, even though Radke's really impressed me. Blood Diamond's the bigger guy and the much better kickboxer. And you know what? Even though he's at an unhealthy 35 years old, Charlie Radke is still 33. And he's the guy who has been knocked out, even if it was to a body shot. But overall in this fight, I got Charlie Radke winning. I've got Charlie Radke winning. I think he should win. And it should be via finish, and it should be on the ground. I don't know if it'd be a TKO or submission. I think it could go either way, but I think it'll come with 2 hooks in from the back mount. That's my prediction for this fight. Charlie Radke, if his wrestling fails him, which it might because Blood Diamond's a good athlete and a little bigger, then I could see Blood Diamond putting him away. And that's why my only bet for this fight so far is the under 2.5 rounds, minus 180. I figure if this goes either guy's way, it's going to be a finish. And Charlie Radke is much more of a finisher, I'd say, or, much more capable of finishing, even at the UFC level, than a guy like Orion Cochet. Radke's a more comfortable fighter, and that includes on the feet as well. Not that the Cochets can't fight on the feet, but Charlie Radke can bang. So I've got Charlie Radke winning. I think he's comfortable enough to pick an opportune time to hit a takedown on Blood Diamond. And once he hits the takedown, if he doesn't get him out of there in the rest of that round, he's going to suck a good amount of the life out of him. Because this guy's got really good heavy pressure. And, he's dangerous. He's going to do some damage on Blood Diamond before putting him away in one way or another. So Radke via finish is the pick. I'd go with round 2. Or maybe late round 1 finish. I could be a rear naked choke or a TKO. I really don't know. But in general, the only bet is the under 2.5 rounds. If I happen to be wrong about the pick, I still think Blood Diamond is in the realm of getting a finish. I think he's more likely to get a finish than win a decision, even though Radke's been defeated twice by decision, only once by knockout. So that's it. I'll go with Charlie Radke, and I'll bet on the under. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.